Hey Queens, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday. It is 7:21. I got in a little late today. I went to purchase the camera for our videos. I want to improve the quality of these videos, and so I went to purchase the camera. And while I was online waiting to pay, I started thinking about my spending habits. And I said, you know what would be interesting to talk about today? Money. And I think that is a subject that a lot of people don't like to talk about, whether they are single or in a relationship, and more particularly, Latinos. And I can speak only from a Latina, perspective and my own experience, right? So I wrote a couple of notes for myself, and what I wanted to share with you. And this is just my opinion. I am not an accountant, although I think it's important to talk about money because, there are goals that we set for ourselves. And sometimes, our spending habits or our thoughts about what we think, you know, we fear about money or what we think our budget should look like or the beliefs that we were raised with, that has an impact on how we spend our money or how we save our money or if we are able to see our dreams come true. So I wrote a couple of notes and I just want to read them quickly, because I know that this is a huge topic, but they're just like 4 points that I'd like to share with you about my journey. So the first thing that I wrote was fear about money. Growing up in the U.S. is a huge blessing because there is an abundance of things, money, food. It's not like our countries, right? So I'm from Guatemala, and in Guatemala is a very poor country. It's not a third world country, but it's very poor. And so you don't have the luxury, well, not you, but like, people in general don't have the luxury of, eating out a lot or going to buy, I don't know, Starbucks or coffee every morning and things like that. People are very limited with their resources in our countries. And so I find that in the US, we have more opportunities to engage in things and because it's so accessible. Also, the minimum wage here is so much more higher than in Guatemala. And I'm not here to compare and contrast countries. I'm just saying that, these are the things that I grew up thinking about, right? So I never I never felt fear when it came to the topic of money and finances because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my parents weren't rich, but we never lacked anything. Like my brother and I never lacked anything. We had food on the table every night. We had clothes on our backs. When it was our birthday, my parents tried their hardest to get us a brand new outfit, or for the beginning of the school year, we would get a brand new backpack, new supplies. Also for the holidays, we would always get brand new clothes. And so I never grew up thinking that I was going to lack of anything. I never had this feeling that I was gonna ever be without because I always had. My parents were very good at providing. They worked really hard. They still work really hard. And so that's why I never grew up with fears. And then I grew up without a budget. I would get an allowance every now and then, but I was able to spend it as I wanted. So, like I said in another video, my mom was like a fashionista, right? So she would buy shoes and clothes and bags, and my mom was fly. And so that's how I grew up. I grew up thinking, oh, this is what women do. And so when I started working, I would spend my money on clothes and shoes and bags or going out to eat with my friends. When I was in a relationship, I would spend money there too. And so I didn't have fear of missing out. I didn't have a fear of losing money. I didn't have a fear of not having. I just, I've never had that fear. And by the grace of God, I cannot say that I've been in a situation where I've starved, you know. I've been super blessed. So that's my experience with not having fear. The other point that I wanted to make was my history with money. Hi, Queens. Welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, and we are at 7:28 p.m. I got home a little late today, and I'm about to change into my Zumba outfit, so I wanted to check in before I started that. Today, I went to purchase a camera so that I can improve the quality of these videos. While I was on the line, I started thinking about how much it was going to cost me. But I mean, it's not a complaint. I'm not venting or complaining. I'm just saying that I was thinking about the price, you know, and then I started thinking, you know, about my spending habits, and maybe we should explore that topic, right? So I started thinking to myself, you know, Jessica, why don't we do like maybe 2 or 3 videos about money, Latinas and money, or women and money, women and abundance? Because everybody, you know, because everybody wants to succeed at, because that is a topic that is constantly on everybody's mind. You know, how much money do I have? How much money do I need to spend on certain things and things like that? And so, from my own experience, there are 4 major things that come to mind. One is fear. The second one is my history and money. 3 would be how I was raised, or the Latin culture, and how I was raised in my culture as it relates to money. And then the fourth thing that I thought about was the habits, my spending habits. So let's start with the first one. The first one is fears. I don't think that I ever feared not having money. And pondering upon that, I realized that I don't fear not having money, not because I'm super confident that I'm always going to have money. Listen, things can happen, right? And so, and I shared in another video where I lost my job, and I was out of work for 2 years. So, and even then I wasn't terrified of not having money. I always knew in my gut and in my heart and in my spirit that I would be okay financially. You know, thank God I've prepared myself to the point where I am marketable. So if I, let's say, for example, lose my job today, I have a great resume and I can, you know, move on to another job. So that's one. So I've never had fears. And another reason why I've never had fears is because my parents they did a phenomenal job with making sure that my brother and I had what we needed and what we wanted. You know, as children, it's just the 2 of us, and my parents worked really, really hard to make sure that there was always food on the table and in the refrigerator. You know, they made sure that we always had clothes on our backs, clean clothes, and we had our essentials at home, and we had our tools in school to succeed, and we always had a couple of extra dollars, you know, if we wanted to, you know, I don't know, hang out with our friends. And so they never put limits on how much, you know, we could spend. Not that they are rich. My parents are not rich, you know, and my brother and I, and just, you know, just to be clear, my brother and I never took advantage of them. You know, if we wanted something, we would wait for like Christmas, or we would wait for our birthday to ask for something. And most of the time it was really, I mean, I'll speak for myself. For me, what I really wanted was just like clothes, you know, an outfit. And I would get it. I would get it for my birthday. And my parents would just get it for us. And so that's why I never feared. The other thing that I thought about was my history with money. And my history of money is interesting. I started working when I was 19. I started working for a law firm. I worked in the mailroom, and I used to get, no lie, I used to get like maybe $90 a week. And it was a part time because I was in school. I had just started my undergrad. So I was in school during the day. I was working part time after school. And I remember every Friday I would get paid. And Fridays I didn't have classes. So I would work the whole day on Friday. And I used to get paid. And you know what I used to do? I used to get that check, go cash it, buy lunch, and go spend it on clothes. But I'll leave the spending habits for last. From there, I started going to school full time, and then I had to do an internship. No. I had to do like, I'm sorry, I was studying early childhood education, and then I started, no, do a site visit in a school. So I hit it off so well with one of the executives at the school that, she was like, well, Jessica, it seems like you're very bright, and we actually have an opening for an assistant teacher. Do you want to come and work with us? And without even thinking about what is my mom going to say, what is my dad going to say, I said, yes, absolutely. I want to work with you. Because all I thought about was like, I'm going to get paid. So my history, and then that's how I progressed, throughout life, right? Throughout my career, throughout all these years. And I started working for the city of New York when I was 22. I tell you, when I started working with the city, I had the lowest pay title. And I was okay with it because in my mind, I always knew that I would advance, I would progress, I would get promoted somehow. And I just knew it in my heart that I would never always make the same amount of money. Excuse me. So that is my history. And throughout the years and throughout my career, obviously, I've grown economically and I've been compensated for my experience and for my skill set and for my degree. And so, yeah, that's been my history with money. The third thing was being Latina, right? Being raised Latina and money. So I feel that, and I probably will get a lot of disagreements, but I think that the Latin community is not as financially savvy as other cultures. And my experience was, and I'm not saying that our culture is ignorant or anything, but my experience was that I wasn't taught a budget. I didn't learn a budget until I became an adult. I wasn't taught in school, about the importance of money. I wasn't, and that's another thing. At home, I wasn't taught about budgeting. In school, I wasn't taught about budgeting or money or the importance of a budget or the importance of money. And I think that my experience was that my culture or being Latina and money is that we just buy whatever we want. We don't plan for retirement. A lot of folks just they live paycheck to paycheck, or they buy unnecessary things. And I put myself in that category because that's how I've lived. And again, because I've never had a fear of not having money. So I just bought whatever I wanted, or I've purchased whatever I've wanted. We need to change some dynamics in our culture to start thinking about our future, because being a senior and being broke, we can't wait on the government to support us financially. Social Security may not be around in the future, and I never want to depend on anything or anyone. And that's why for some time now I've concentrated on seeing where my money goes. And the last point that I wanted to make was about my spending habits. So, how are we spending our money, right? Years ago, I would buy lunch every day. One is not the healthiest option, but it's really, really bad for your pocket. So I'll give you an example. When I worked at downtown by City Hall some years ago, if you know anything about New York, you know that New York is very expensive, especially Manhattan. And so my mom, she is very, very financially savvy. She is financially conservative. Like she is great. And she would always tell me, Jessica, take your lunch to work. My mom always took her lunch to work. And I would be like, no, I don't want to walk with my lunch, because I was too cute to carry a little lunch bag. Or, I wanted to go out to lunch with my friends. And, because I had it like that at the time, I was getting paid well, I was socializing, and it was just, the thing to do. So every day, Monday through Friday, I would buy lunch, right? My colleagues or my friends in the neighborhood would go out to lunch. Every time I went to lunch, it was $10. And I'm talking about 2000, 2001, 2002. As years passed, the prices kept going up. And so years later, I was still going to lunch every day, spending $15, $17 a day on lunch. And when I tell you what I would have would be a salad with grilled chicken or tuna, that's a fortune. And then on Fridays, we will go out for drinks or we will go out for dinner, and that was another $100 on top, because drinks are expensive and food and dinner is expensive. And even though we would split the bill, I still had my share plus tip, and it was just, let me tell you, I spent a fortune on food alone. And then I realized that I can't do that anymore. When I found myself thinking about my future and how I was going to pay for rent or a mortgage, or what do I want? Do I want to travel? How do I want to live my life? I started thinking to myself, why am I making plans if I may not have any money? And all the advice that my mom would give me before started sinking in. And I said, you know what, I gotta make a change. And I started cutting back, and I started taking my lunch to work. I would take leftovers, or I pack my lunch, and I still do that now. I take my lunch to work every day, even though sometimes I want something else. Like I want to purchase I don't know, let's say for example a sandwich or a slice of pizza or whatever. I still make it my business to sacrifice, and I don't give in to my temptation, and I change my habit. I bring my lunch to work. I used to bring my coffee to work as well, but it's like very heavy. So the only thing that I spend now is the $2 on my coffee every morning, and that is all. So what's that? $10? Yeah, $10 a week, as opposed to all that money that I was spending back then. And I think that if I had saved all that money that I was spending when I was misspending, I would have had an insane amount of money in the bank. But these are the lessons that we learn, and it's not too late. And I know that, I know for a fact that I'm not the only one, but these are things that we're taught, right, or not taught in life. And also in the Latin community, we're taught that men handle the finances in the home. The women cook and clean and take care of the kids, and yeah, okay, some work, but men handle the finances. Who said that they are geniuses? Who said that women can't handle the finances? That is a lie that we've been taught. And I know that every household is different, and every marriage is different, every union is different. So I'm not trying to make waves or anything. I'm just saying that for so long, women were not given that proper respect. I think times have to change. And I think also having a mindset of abundance and prosperity, that helps a lot. Having a positive attitude, having a great outlook on money and finances, being able to feel free to talk about it, I think that's a great thing. So if you've had fears about money, let it go. Write down what your fears are and see how we can work with them, how we can overcome those fears. Because giving into fears is not going to get you the goals in life that you want to achieve. They're not going to get you your dream vacation. It's not going to get you the house that you want, or the car that you want, or the lifestyle that you want, or the peace of mind that you want, the retirement that you want in the future. Fears are only gonna hold you back. I can't tell you how to work with those fears, but we have to find a way so that they don't become a challenge, or they don't become a crutch for us. And we may want to also reevaluate what our spending habits are, because maybe we're spending money on the wrong things and not focusing on what the end goal is. Even if it's just $1 a day, if you can save, that goes a long way, because it's not always going to be $1. You're going to get promoted, you're going to make more money, and then you can raise it to like $5 or $10 or $20, depending on what your paycheck is. I've done it, and I am on a journey to be debt free. I am on a journey to live my best life, and I don't want to have to answer to someone. In the future, I want to be able to retire early and live my best life. And what is your goal? And I think that they should add finances and budgeting, or money and budgets, to the school curriculum, because that's a tool that will take our kids very, very far in life. And then they can learn that they can achieve anything. If you're financially stable and financially independent, you can do anything. And that's where we need to be. So with that being said, I'm going to read the question from the book. I didn't read the last 2 nights, and I completely forgot. What do you most dislike about your appearance? If I can be honest, my weight gain. I gained so much weight this past 2 years with the pandemic, with being home and not exercising, and not being active, I should say. And then last year with my injury at the gym and the minor surgery that I had in November. So I think that all that inactivity in my life, I gained a lot of weight. And I think that that's the only thing that I can say that I dislike. But the good thing is that, I've gotten back into like trying to walk more. I started my Zumba. This weekend, I meant to tell you, I started, no, not this weekend. I didn't start this weekend. I started 2 weeks ago. And I've only done it twice. I did yoga for beginners. I used to do yoga years ago with my mom. We used to go to the studio. But that was in the city. We had to take the train in there. And I'm not taking trains. So I started doing yoga for beginners, and I YouTube it. And I loved it. But I know I'm very stiff. I need to stretch more. I need to move more. My body is just like asking me to move. I will lose the weight, but I need to exercise. Point blank, period. The diet is not that bad. Like I said, I for the most part, I eat pretty healthy. No fried foods, no fast foods. But I have to exercise. And so that is my goal. I haven't set a weight goal, because I don't even want to look at the scale, to be honest with you. I just don't feel comfortable. But every time I go to the doctor, they weigh me anyway. I just don't like the scale. It's just the scale and I are not friends. So that is what I dislike right now. but it's going to get better. And I'm going to be fly. So thank you for joining me tonight. I will see you tomorrow, and we will go over our budget 101. And if you have any questions, concerns, comments, ideas, post them in the comment section. You can like this button, share, and subscribe. And I will check you tomorrow. Thanks. Have a good night.